Yeah. Anyway, so it is time to start live streaming, so it's time to go live. I know, and we are live. First time with me streaming over OBS. Last time it was John, today it is me. And today we have with us in the chat, and now I have to look at all the names because I'm terrible with memory. But there is John, obviously, together with me, obviously. Then we have Rational Outlaw, who joined us. Real Raven, who is still in here. He only wanted to join us pre-stream, but you know how that goes. And Smirkus is with us today. And today we're going to have a huge funny talk about, what do you call it? Mass shootings? It's called mass shooting, isn't it? Yeah, it's called mass shootings. Yeah, that's what I said, mass. I didn't... Yeah. Like... Yeah. Alright then. Potato. Anyway, so... Today's hangout, and there's a bunch of people here already, which is always good. Rational Outlaw is new. I can't remember that we had him with us on a hangout before. And for all of us, it's new on doing this in the Discord server. So now the Discord server actually is going to get some use. I am going to try to... Discord success. I don't know that. Yes, I'm sorry, people. The old way of doing hangouts is gone. I can't do much about it. Now, we did try to do it over Ventrilo. Sorry, not Ventrilo, Skype. But somehow my Skype is kind of... Yeah, Ventrilo is an old text-based. It looks like Ventrilo and TeamSpeak. And Mumble. This shows my age. Yeah. Yeah, but that's because you're not a gamer. There isn't a game. Right. So yes, for all the gamers out there, those things. For all the boomers out there, never you mind. Hi there, Ludicrous. Hi there, Michael. Hi there, Dark. Everyone in the chat. Hi there. Today we're going to, as I said, we're going to talk about. Really? I have no idea. StreamYard also an option. Okay, well, there you go. And I'm not only looking at Discord chat today, Michael Keller. I am looking at the chat of the stream as well. But unfortunately, it comes with a, 30-second delay. So I'm sorry there. But I will try to respond to whatever you type ever so often. Streamlabs. Well, I have to look into that one then. Well, you can't hear anyone but me and John. But you should be able to hear John. John, can you say something? Something more? Smirkus? See, I'm not sure if those people can hear you, but they should. Hi there, Anitak. Anit, did you guys hear the other ones talking or not? Because if not, then I need to figure out what the hell I'm doing wrong. You can't hear John. So what am I doing wrong then? Because that's the main thing. Sorry? Say, what did I do wrong then? Come on. I shouldn't, but let me check it out. Because I know... I've got every... Everything is going over voice meter. Can you guys say something for me? Yeah, it's weird. That's weird. This is really annoying because that means that I'm doing something wrong and I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. Yeah. Well, it's the first time I'm doing this over OBS, so there is this excuse, but people are making fun of me in the stream as well. Yes, go on. How? Of course not. Okay, let me see. Audio. Okay, so I need an input capture, output capture. Let's try output capture. Okay, so I did say I did say something. I did change something. Let me see if this is working now. Because otherwise, indeed, this stream is going to be one-sided. It's going to be a lot of me talking. Can you guys start talking, see if they can hear you? And obviously, it's going to take a few seconds for everyone else to realize that anything has been said. Hi there, Carlos, by the way. Well, I can still hear you guys, so I'm hoping they can hear you. Guys, could you hear them? Yeah, probably. Yes, and they still can't. So the output capture doesn't seem to be working. So let's see if I can use this one then. Okay. Output capture now. I can share my screen actually. Then everyone in the stream can see what I'm doing wrong, which is perfectly alright with me. Screen 1, make visible, transition. Okay, can't make it bigger, this is not good. So if you are looking at the hangout, you can see my screen, or at least you should be able to. If I didn't fuck it up as much as I do. Go on then.
Have you been fiddling, Modway?
Of course I have.
I told you to leave it simple.
No, the thing is, I thought everything was working.
Yes.
I'm sorry, people.
Your audio is coming through, Modwayne. Everyone else is not. So
yeah, so
you're not catching the audio.
No.
And I don't know.
Oh my God.
You see that? You see, no. You see the 2 meters on the screen.
Read it. Okay,
Modway.
let's see.
Modwayne, you see the 2 meters on the screen?
Yes, and the output meter is showing.
The bottom one should be working too.
Okay.
If the bottom one isn't working,
but it was working a moment ago. That's the worst part.
Well, I can't see it working on the stream.
No, I know, but it was working.
But there's 30 seconds. Don't forget that.
No, you got it. You got it. It's working now. I can hear myself.
Hello?
Can you guys?
How can you hear yourself on this?
Can you guys?
30 seconds lag.
Now mute John.
Now mute John.
So you can, just to make sure, people, you can hear the other guys on YouTube, right? Because I don't hear.
Yeah. No, you did it. Just don't touch anything now. Just leave it.
Always.
Come on.
So, bye you. Oh, back to the normal screen. See, but now that I changed this is gone. So should it be like that then?
I don't think you're capturing the desktop audio.
Yes.
I think you're capturing one of your voice. Are you using voice?
No,
So that's.
I'm trying to use the bloody thing, but it should be working fine, which it doesn't.
No, it's working fine now. Just don't touch it.
Can you hear me though? I mean,
Yeah,
can the people on Hangouts hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
We can hear you.
Good.
On
Everything's
Hangouts,
fine.
Just, can the stream hear you?
Shall we go on with the show?
Yes. If everyone can, someone is echoing. Who's echoing? I don't hear anyone.
So,
else.
mass shootings.
Hi there,
If it's
Mycroft,
me-
by the way. Mycroft joined as well. Mycroft, you're echoing apparently. I think everything should
I shouldn't.
I'm not typing.
everything should be
I was
working
typing.
now. So let's talk about the fun that the world seems to have with mass shootings. And to begin with, I have to share something that I actually made a video about. And my videos are crap, I know, but here you go. First, let's start with this one. Because Mr. Barack Obama had to tell the world how terrible the world is. Because obviously he's the president. No, he's not, but he still thinks he is. And he has to tell the world what a terrible place it has become because he no longer is the president. So I'm going to read this, and I made a video about it and all that, and it's going to be the backbone of this stream as well. Michelle and I grieve with all the families...
Sorry, Modern, before you start, can I just say, well done. Because unlike in his video, he actually displays it large enough for you to read it.
Well, this one in the video he displayed well as well. It's the rest of the crap he didn't display well.
No, but you've got it full screen so that on a regular size output, it's actually legible.
Well, there you go. Let me see, because I'm doing something not correct. You can go away. So, there's... sorry. Let me bring up transition. And then that is wrong. Fucking hell. See, I make a mess of things. That's absolutely a fact. Anyway, so, what was Obama saying? Michelle and I grieve with the families in El Paso and Dayton who endured the latest mass shootings. Now, on that, there is nothing I disagree with. I feel sorry for the people who lost family members and friends as well. Even if the details are still emerging, there are a few things we already know to be true. And as soon as a politician say, even though we know something to be true, it should bring out every alarm bell possible in your brain, because you're going to be lied to. Now, obviously, I made an whole video about this. I'm not going to do this again. The first point they're making about how no other nation on earth has the experience with mass shootings. Well, that's utter crap. But one of the reasons why is because they have a very strange definition of mass shootings, and it changes every time they want to. I mean, let's be honest, the one in El Paso was a guy shooting up Hispanic people because he didn't want them to come to the country. Now, if that's not a political motivation, I don't know what is. And if it is a political motivation, that means it's terrorism, therefore it cannot be a mass shooting because it's terrorism. Not me, it's their definition of things. But the second thing is what we're going to do the stream on about today. While the motivations behind this shooting may not yet be fully known, there are indications that the El Paso shooting follows a dangerous trend. Troubled individuals who embrace racist ideologies and see themselves obligated to act violently to preserve white supremacy. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the one in El Paso. I am going to spend a little time on it. But before I say anything, anyone else wants to say something? Because I have been talking a lot, haven't I?
Well, I mean, can it be terrorism and politically motivated?
All terrorism is politically motivated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I meant, actually. You know, like terrorism but also like white supremacists or
Yeah, but it's all political in some way or other.
But it can't be a mass shooter event if it's terrorism, and that's not me saying. That's their own definition. So if it is terrorism based,
the FBI,
the FBI, the U.S. Senate, I checked the Wikipedia. I haven't set it up now, but the Wikipedia page basically said mass shooting events. All mass shooting events are events where more than 4 people get shot, but the exception to that rule is terrorism, military action, and police action. Because
you mean they're not counting it in the statistics? That's what you mean.
Those three don't count as a mass shooting incident.
It depends who you talk to, because the honey badger says something very different last night. So I'm going to say a little bit.
1 second, guys. So I'm not coming through clearly then?
There's some Discord crashing.
But
I checked the stream and you sounded fine, so I don't.
Okay. Well, if it's
also, I would just like to comment. My comment I posted on Modwayne's video, which is this: Barack Obama starts his piece.
Your volume is a little low, Modwayne. That's basically it. Everything else sounds fine though.
Where's the bit where he says it? The bit about getting all the politicians to change the law.
I have to look for that real fast. I'm sorry.
It's in that piece somewhere. I'm trying to scan it, and there's nothing worse than.
Do you mean we are not helpless here? And until all of us stand up and insist on holding public officials accountable for changing our gun laws, these tragedies will keep happening.
Yeah, that one, because the guy was fucking president for 8 years. He did nothing. Hypocrite. Just saying.
Just out of curiosity, do any European countries actually have even like slightly like liberal gun laws anywhere?
Well, in Switzerland.
Well, Switzerland is the only one.
Get a gun. They all get a gun.
Yeah.
By law.
Yeah. Everyone has to be proficient with a gun by law. So that's slightly different. But that's the only
got a gun. This is the point. It's the question, I presume, is related to how widespread is gun ownership or possession. And in Switzerland, it's very widespread, and yet they don't go around on rampages.
Yeah, well, I get the feeling.
Oh, wait. Michael Keller says we're wrong, so I'm really curious.
But he hasn't elucidated.
So,
well, I get the feeling that, like in the U.S., basically what's happening.
Only men who serve in military service get a gun. My mistake.
I think you're
Sorry,
clear.
Michael.
This bit of hiss. That's all.
Well, no, like so when we have these shootings, basically what ends up happening is that the press comes in and they make a huge deal about it, and like the entire world hears about it. And I look at Europe, who apparently for most countries anyway, they don't give their citizens the right to carry firearms. So then they look at the U.S. and think we're a bunch of lunatics, and it's like, well. Might be a little overblown.
The thing is, I actually made a video about this last night because it really upset me. There are a few countries that have a higher death rate by guns than America. All of them are countries with stricter gun laws, and all of them outscore America by far. So there is something really deranged when a president of a country says, well, this is the only country in the modern Western world. He didn't say it like that. He said the only developed nation, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, obviously we have gun violence because we have guns. And
yeah, but no, stop. This is the biggest mistake people make. we have gun violence because we have guns. No, you have gun violence because you have violent people.
Oh, you think it's just like an American thing?
And
No,
the weapon
no,
of
no,
choice
it's
just
not an
happens
American
to be
thing.
a gun.
It's not an American thing. Hell, look at the UK. The UK has a lot of violence. It has gun violence as well, but not as much. It still has gun violence. But they have strict laws. Is the problem the gun?
Did you see Neil deGrasse Tyson's tweet? Did you see what he put out right after?
I have to admit that first I want you to answer my question though, because this is an important part.
Okay.
Is the violence part based on the weapon, or is the violence part based on something else? At this point in time,
I would
the UK.
say, yeah,
All the stabbings
Americans.
in the UK.
Americans do.
London has a higher murder rate than New York.
Though if they're constantly redefining what anything is, it's very hard to tell.
True that, but in raw numbers, there are more murders being committed in London.
Yeah, that's
per
what I'm
head of
saying.
the
But
public.
if you don't call a murder,
Yeah,
then
true that.
you get a lower figure. That's what I'm getting at.
True that. But back to that point though. I mean, more people are getting murdered in the UK than in New York. Sorry, not in the UK. In London than in New York. So what is the problem? Is a tool the problem?
I don't think it's the tool. I mean, to your point though, I do think that like Americans are pretty violent people. I'll give you that.
I'm
Like,
going to call bullshit on that as well.
It also
Rational
depends
outlaws
on
and
which
trying to
demographic of America you're talking about. If you were talking about like perhaps whites, Asians, those demographics are pretty much similar to that of Europeans in the sense of violence. But if you talk about blacks and Hispanics, especially black community, yeah, you probably could say that about the black community, that they're very violent since they commit murders.
Oh, more than half, to be honest.
Yep.
In America.
And they only make up 13, 14% of the population. And if you lower that even more towards just specifically black men, it's around like they make up 7% of the population if you talk about specifically black men.
I know that one. Let me see, where is that? I had that somewhere.
It's not because of their race, I'm not trying to say. It's just to say.
No. It kind of comes back. It kind of like, so like, I get into this argument sometimes with like Swedish people when they talk about having more of like a rehabilitative version of
incarceration.
When you put somebody in prison, right? I would say my estimation of people in the U.S. though is the reason that we have such a we have such a strict accordance to the law and why people go to jail for so long is just because I think that people in the U.S. are if they're going to break the law, they're going to do it in a much wilder way than you're going to see in anywhere in Europe. And
why?
So,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Cultural thing?
So you don't know. Then why do you assume that this is the case? Because now you're asserting something, but you don't know why you're asserting it.
Yeah, no, but it's an intuitive thing, I guess. I don't really know why. I just think that Americans.
Okay, there's two
Americans
things.
are.
There's two things we can do. We can recognize that something is how it is, or we can claim motive for it. Now, can we claim motive?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
So we can only recognize. We can't claim motive. We can't assert motive. We can only recognize. So, for example, we can recognize that if we look at a country like Norway, they have far less violent crime than, for example, the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can assert that this is the case, but we can't say why. Now, I can also say Norway has a lot less violence than, for example, South Africa. Is that still a
Dude, it's
correct
cold as
statement?
fucking Norway. You have enough shit to worry about without killing each other.
Well, true that, but is it still a correct statement to say there is less violent crime in Norway than there is in South Africa?
I don't know.
Considerably.
I do know. So yes, there is less violent crime in Norway than in South Africa. Is there less violent crime in America per head of the population than in South Africa?
Where? I mean, it depends on what area. I mean, if you're looking at somewhere like Detroit.
No, but we're not looking like that. We're just, and this is another big mistake people keep making. But we're just looking at the whole of America at once and the whole of South Africa at once. Is South Africa having more violent crime or less violent crime than the whole of America per head of state?
They're having definitely more violent crime.
Okay.
You think so?
Yeah, no, they absolutely do.
So.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do. There's not even a doubt about that.
Violent crime compared to some other countries, if you look at other countries, if you're just looking at the developed Western countries, yeah, our violent crime is higher. But if you look at other countries, our violent crime is actually considerably low.
Yeah. America has about 4.4 deaths, homicides per 100,000. That's high, but if you look at Venezuela,
high for a Western country, but it's considerably low worldwide standard-wise.
Yes. Well, I mean, there's only what 13 countries that score higher than America, I think. But, and this is another fine joke, if you remove the murders from Chicago, Baltimore. Oh, there were 3 more. I forgot the other 3.
Yeah, if you take out basically the entire black population, our murder rate drops, is similar to that of any other Western country.
No, actually, you score below most Western countries then.
Oh.
Because
I'm looking at a stat site here, and it's saying that South Africa is ranked 48th for gun crime. The U.S. is ranked first. Hooray!
yes, of course they are.
Murders, though, for murders, South Africa ranks 3rd, and the U.S. ranks 9th. So that's interesting.
Are you talking about homicides in general or gun homicides?
No, just murders.
Okay, let me look that up because I don't think that's quite right. I think we're actually a lot lower than that.
Here, I'll post this in general. You can take a look yourself. I'm looking at this. I don't know how reputable this site is, but...
All statistics are biased some way or other.
True that.
No, I mean, talking about removing part of your population, I mean, countries like Britain had a steadily decreasing violent crime, and then we have all these immigrants, and the immigrants commit violent crimes. Now, you can say, oh, that's terrible, blame the immigrants, but the point is there's a very close correlation.
That's actually an interesting argument because I've heard both sides of this thing, which is that immigrants commit less crime than. I've heard this though. Like
yeah,
this,
I know.
We have categories of crime. We have categories of crime, particularly acid attacks, which are wholly imported from places like Pakistan.
Right. Well, I mean, like that's the thing. Like,
shit, right?
Yeah.
I've heard this argument, and then you can also you can make the argument that of course like the knife crimes are up in London, right? And
which is a foreign city now.
Why would that be?
Foreign city now.
Yeah.
Foreign gang. And the point is, in general, your upstanding immigrant is probably much less likely to commit crime.
If I may interrupt really quickly, I found the stat. If you look at the United States, excluding the Virgin Islands, because the Virgin Islands, I don't know why it's made separate for this, the United States actually ranks 111th in homicide rate.
At the website I gave you?
It's a different website I got this from. It's called the World Atlas, this one.
Yeah.
And
I'll post it here and in the chat.
Yeah, post it in chat. You can always post. Yeah, you can always post in Discord, which is easy for us. But I am not that smooth at moving things from over. I could. So yeah, just put it in Discord.
I posted it in both the Discord and the chat.
Okay.
According to this, it's actually the U.S. is ranked 111th. And if you talk about specifically the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands is ranked 3rd, but the U.S., the continental United States, and Alaska and Hawaii is ranked 111th.
See, what the hell's going on in Honduras, though? Jeez, look at that.
You want to see El Salvador?
I always thought that Brazil had the most murders.
No, they're pretty high though. And
Brazil's pretty high.
This is homicide victims, so murder victims. It doesn't all have to be gun, I'll have to admit that. But that doesn't really matter much to the person who's being killed, I assume.
Yeah, this is including all homicide, not just gun homicide. If we're
talking about according to this, Honduras also has the highest incident of firearm-related deaths in the world, if we're to believe this site.
Yeah, because they have a lot of gangs. They have a lot of gangs who. One of the reasons you have so many Central Americans trying to come to the United States is because they're scared shitless of the lives they have in their own country.
I'm assuming this must be going by like per capita, right? Like.
No, well, yeah, it does. It goes per 100,000. So 100, yeah, if you have 6 million people in your country, then it's 6 million people divided by 100,000. This is the amount of people you have murdered. If you have 300 million people, then it's still this many people are being murdered per 100,000. So it is kind of still a raw number, but not. I mean, there's more people being killed in for example, let's say New York than in Amsterdam, because there's more people in New York. So there's a different way.
Why use the per capita? Yeah. 100,000 is per capita. It's just 100,000 capita, not one capita.
Yeah. And if you per 100,000 score 60, then that's an incredibly high number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, America doesn't come close. On this list, America is 89, almost 90. And this is including the places where homicides and fire-related murders happen a lot. Because there are certain places in America. Chicago, everyone knows about Chicago.
Looking at that list, though, I mean, it's very interesting. You've got a lot of Central America, Caribbean, South America, and Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Is just like if you compare the U.S. to Canada based on this list, it's a little concerning.
Well, let's see what. Yeah, but then you need to look at why. I mean, if we look at the United States, they have 5 homicides, a little bit more than 5 per 100,000. Now, I'm not quite sure if I can find Canada easily because I'm crap with that. Here it is.
It's down in the hundreds.
Yeah, it's 150.
You know what a search is?
It's only at 1.8. But again, if we remove certain cities from that list, then all of a sudden America scores better than Canada. Now, I don't have that here now.
I'm not even sure.
I'm
not even sure if I buy
there
these
is a problem, though.
Like, what about God damn it, what's the libertarian paradise?
Yeah,
the ones that are. Wow, I can't remember the name of it. Not Portland. No, not Portland. God damn it. The ones
Portland anymore.
The ones that go around on the boats and they hijack shit. What's the
Somalia.
Somalia. Okay, so
that's not a libertarian paradise.
Yeah, well, that's the meme. But where's Somalia on this list exactly? Because I feel like
I'm not even sure if they are on this list. Because
just search, mate. Just click.
There it is.
No.
Yeah,
just search. Control it.
Here it is. I'm saying here it is. Somalia. Boom. There. You see, here it is, and they're at number 100.
You see, do you know why? Because they
So,
just go on the sea and
according-
kill everyone there. Then it doesn't count.
Right, but according to this list, then, and I'm pressing X here to doubt.
Mhm.
Somalia
Is doing
Somalia
better than,
is a safer country than the U.S.
yes.
per murders.
Yeah, and as I said,
I don't know if
everyone's
I
got an
believe that.
agenda.
I don't know if I believe that.
No.
No, I'm not believing that Somalia is safer either. But then again, Somalia doesn't have a centralized government, so it's quite easy to fudge numbers in Somalia. I had
Yeah.
it a moment ago.
It's hard to
and
count bodies when there's no one doing the counting.
yeah. I had Somalia a moment ago. Where did it go to?
100, you
Yeah,
said?
you said 100. 100
Yeah.
is
But now it says Ecuador.
Mayotte, wherever the hell that is.
Now it's. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it differently. Sorry, I should have done.
Somalia is 77. 77.
No, depends on how you look at it, because when you look at the murder rate, and that's what I was looking at, the death rate. Sorry, and Somalia scores at 4.31 per 100,000, which is an estimate by the World Health Organization. So you just know that it's going to be very accurate.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Your
I'm looking-
sarcasm is commendable.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I think that these stats are a little janky.
A little,
Just guess.
a little. Well, it's the World Health Organization, and they want you to invest in Somalia. And if they're going to say, well, Somalia, yeah, that's where you get shot for walking outside on the wrong day or night or moment of time, then people aren't going to invest in that. So yeah, they're going to tell you that, oh no, yeah, well, it's bad. Of course, it's bad. We know it's bad, but it's not
Because
that
anyone
bad.
investing in Somalia wouldn't do any research, obviously.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you know how left wings operate. It's silly, but it's unfortunately freakingly true. And these are all somewhat jaded. Now this one is NPay. That's the I forgot the name for that. Anyway, this is a little bit more realistic.
I think basically we may be looking at a site here, the World Atlas. I think maybe we might be looking at a site here that would like to make people believe that the murder rate is just out of control in the United States for some reason.
Yes, and that's the thing. And I'm
Politics.
It's all about politics, because I'm going to bring this one back. If we look at America, roughly 50% of all murders, gun-related murders, not gun-related, homicides, are being perpetrated by roughly 7% of society. And yet still, there are people on the mainstream media telling us how white people are the terrorists of America. What's her name?
Yeah.
The congresswoman. She even dared to say it.
Cortez.
No,
Did
the
you
other
say
one.
7% of the society, 7%
There's only
of
4, so-
American societies are
7%
violent.
7% of American
7% of the
society.
population is committing. 7% of the population is committing
Homicide
over
is-
50% of homicide.
Yeah.
And a lot of other violent crimes is also very high for the 7%
of
the
Americans
population.
are murderers.
7%
sounds
of 7%. No. 7% of America is male black people, and that 7% of America is responsible for 52% of the murders. That doesn't mean every black man is a murderer.
Yeah, well.
That's not how it works.
We're Bill Raven. We're badasses, but we're not that badass. Not 70% of us anyway. So.
But if you look at crime, it's more likely that a criminal is going to be a black American than a white American. That doesn't mean that aren't any.
No. You're mixing up your statistics.
No, but majority of people in
You're far more likely to run into a black criminal than a white criminal because there are far
No, you're messing up your statistics. Okay.
Depends on what kind of crime.
No. You're messing up your statistics. Okay. When you say you're more likely, that is a numbers thing.
Yes.
When you say there's a higher proportion, that's a percentage thing. So while there's a greater percentage of black people who are criminal, you are still more likely to run into a white criminal because there are more of them.
Normally I would say you're correct if it weren't for the fact that let me see, where's the other number? It's because it is a number game. If we look at, for example, murder, 5,746,000. This is a bad number, by the way.
Well, yeah. If you were to look at the actual murder rate, like for example, you would more likely run into a black man who's murdered someone than a white man who's murdered someone.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Proportionally to that population, but not in absolute numbers.
Oh, and then you also have numbers because more black men murder someone because black men commit over 50% of the murders in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you're talking about fraud, it's probably more like a white guy.
But here's the problem.
Yes,
you then say. Sorry.
But if you look at the actual numbers
Mycroft,
of people who
your thingy is on, but we can't hear you.
I could hear him.
The fuck?
He's
Goddamn
quiet.
Discord.
Sorry,
Mycroft. Carry on. Mycroft? Oh,
Did we
died.
just lose Mycroft? Mycroft?
Well, he was speaking and now he's not. But no, what I was going to say is there is a fundamental difference between the number of crimes caused by black people and the number of black people who commit crimes, because if you have a small number of people committing a very large proportion of the crimes, those are very different from each other.
Oh yeah, it's very possible that the same black person takes care of
exactly.
a large portion of the murder. That is true.
It's important not to conflate the two. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, fair enough.
The difference between individuals who do it and the crimes committed in aggregate are very different things.
Anyway, because we're now kind of going into a black-white sort of thing, and this isn't
I thought we were going to talk about mass murders.
Yes, and this is the thing I wanted to talk about, mass murders, because the story of, for example, the Dayton shooter, at first it was considered that he was a white nationalist, and it was very fast after the shooting that people started realizing
no, he's Antifa.
Wasn't. And now people are recognizing that he indeed may have been Antifa's first mass killer in America, because let's be honest, Antifa has done some heinous things in Europe since before the Second World War. So there is that. But yeah, maybe this is the first mass shooter. And where is it? Democratic candidate... Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders succinctly condemned white nationalism, the ideology espoused by the El Paso shooter, in his purported 300 words. Wait a second, why am I talking about... This is the Daytona one. So why are they... Yes,
Dayton, not Daytona.
Yeah, you're right. So why are they referring to the El Paso one, which is also a funny, interesting thing, so I'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah, the Iranian Italian who was also a green and left-wing radical.
Yeah. This is not... I was hoping I would find... Here we go. The murderer had a Twitter profile where he, him, anime fan, metalhead, leftist were the things that he went by. Now, there are people who also say that he was a misogynist, which is very possible considering the first person he shot was his sister, apparently. So there is that. But none of these...
And then he probably went mental and fucking killed a bunch of other people.
Yeah, but none of these things say white supremacist.
No, they actually say something very different. The problem is he wanted to stop immigration. The immigrants aren't white, and therefore,
No.
obviously, he's a white supremacist.
That's the one in El Paso. That's not the one.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But he was actually a left-wing eco-warrior.
Yeah.
And he wasn't attacking them for being not white. He was attacking them for coming into the United States because he had this deluded idea that if you keep the numbers of people in the United States down, the United States won't pollute anymore, and so it'll save the planet. Even though those people would exist anyway somewhere.
Are you now talking about the one in Dayton, or are you talking about
the
one in
El Paso?
Yes, and we're talking about the one in Dayton. This is about the Dayton one.
No, but the point is the narrative is applied to them all, and the debunking applies to them all.
Yes, but
and no one knows what California shooter did it.
I wanted
to do a garlic festival, for fuck's sake.
I wanted to do it one by one, mate. I was
you can't.
Why can't
the narrative doesn't apply one by one? The narrative applies across them all as a group.
Yeah, but to show that this is happening, you want to show it on all cases. You just don't want to assert that this is happening. You want to show it to people.
Sorry about that earlier. For my phone ringing.
That's all right. That's all right.
Whatever.
So, but yeah,
mute button.
You could. He did mute himself, so that's okay. So, but if we look at what happened in Dayton, at first he was considered to be a right wing, but really fast they started recognizing, wait a second, he's not right wing at all. And this happened so fast. Let me see this one. This is also interesting. We hail Satan. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go. An Antifa shooter. Well done, Red State.
Well, but that's the thing. And it's really amazing that people are like, yeah, no, I don't know. This isn't what we...
No. The news then immediately drop the story and don't talk about it anymore.
Well,
doesn't fit the narrative. Don't want to talk.
It's so funny because if we look, this is the other one, the Patrick Crusius. This is the Iranian Italian American. And I find this...
Which obviously makes him a white supremacist.
Which obviously makes him a white supremacy because we know Iran is a white country. But what I found more important, or what I find more interesting, and I'm really curious to hear what the rest of you think about this one. So this dude apparently had a My Life public page. I'm not sure if this is something you can have or that it happens automatically. But this is the original. It's public. And it's... I can't see the date. Oh, here is the time. 2:46. Patrick Crusius, 21 years old today because Patrick's birthday is blah blah blah. Patrick's reputation score yada yada. Patrick Crusius blah blah blah. Democrat Party, Caucasian, and viewed and religion is viewed as Christian. Prudence Lou, etc., etc., etc. And then a few minutes later, Patrick was a registered Republican and an evangelical Christian, a former campaign worker for Donald Trump. He was also a QAnon and conspiracy theory. This is the El Paso shooter, and people were changing his. I gave the name a moment ago. What is My Life public page? People were changing his My Life public page after he got arrested.
And I think they were updating them to be more correct. Actually, I think they were.
No.
Did he not turn right wing later? Did he not? No.
How? I mean, this is the page, and on this page he is all these things, and 2 minutes later he all of a sudden isn't after he's been arrested. Yeah. How did he change from point of view or ideology whilst being arrested? No, other people changed.
Well, he wouldn't have changed it anyway. And worse, there was a supposed manifesto of his that emerged, which was then proven by, what they call it, Instagram. The head of Instagram said, no, it wasn't his.
And this is the
But all the
important thing.
media are going, yeah, it's his manifesto. And they're going, no, it wasn't.
And if we look at this one is his. And at the bottom, it looks like this. And blah, 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 blah. I don't see anything else. If I look at this one and look at the bottom, it says, Patrick has yet to verify this information.
Can you
So
not,
someone else
change
changed.
your,
Someone else changed it for him, and he has to say yes or no, which he can't because he's incarcerated. And then it got. Can I go on? Sorry.
affiliation over, let's say, a space of. Could that not be edited in a space? You know, I probably would have voted Democrat 15 years ago. And maybe they just didn't update
15 years,
it. You know?
15 years ago, he couldn't vote. The dude is 21
Yeah, I'm
years
going to
old.
say he was,
Or
exactly.
whatever, 8 years, or 4 years, or 2 years, or 1 year, it doesn't matter. But it
No, it makes a difference.
changes just a smear and not factual.
Yeah, okay, but he only had 3 years. And in all fairness, I'm not quite sure how this works. I'm not sure how this works, but I mean, yeah, could he have changed since he last updated it? Yeah, sure, because I have no idea when he last updated it. But why then are other people updating it for him? If it's not to
because
protect
it's
America.
ingenious shit.
But you know, the biggest red that I adding the word incel. That's a red.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, man.
He
What
was
the fuck does
QAnon.
politics even have to do
Don't
with all
believe
these
any
things?
of it. It's all lies. Because normally, when there's a mass shooter, what we know is that the blights Facebook immediately destroy all the evidence.
And it's what's even funnier. I mean, they changed this one at 2:50, and then a few minutes later, literally a few minutes later, they added more stuff. So now he's not only a Republican, a QAnon member, and an incel. No, he is an NRA reporter. His racist manifesto, which indeed, as John has already said, probably isn't linked to him at all, has been found online. And despite GOP desperate editing of this webpage, is one of yours. And I'm like, but who is doing the editing?
Yeah, that sounds like someone's trying to set it up to seem like he's just like all these different boxes on the right.
Yeah, another white male Republican responsible for yet another mass killing with a gun made for military use. Well, I don't know what gun he used, but I'm quite sure that being Iranian Italian isn't what makes you white. I'm not saying he couldn't be a good person. I don't think people who are white are better than people who are not white. But the whole narrative of they're white seems to have become a bucket. And everyone that's bad is therefore white.
Yeah, but you know how it works.
And I mean,
Never understand why the hell politics is important in these cases anyway.
well, because
Because
politics
that's all
drives
they've
the
got.
narrative. Yeah, it drives the narrative. It's kind of funny, though, that he started with a religion and ethnicity without income. And at the end, he has an ethnicity. He still has a political party, by the way, which they hear and say, he is a Republican. Political party, Democrat Party. And here they say, oh, well, no, he has a net worth of 10 to 25,000. Based on what? Here it's a net worth of 1 to 5,000. Based on what? Ethnicity, African American. Why? I mean, he was Caucasian in the original one. And all of a sudden he's African American. You can see them fooling around. And as much as they fooled
just
around,
remember the gorilla. What was his name?
Crucius.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, and it
Harambe.
was like, oh, they only shot him because it was a white baby. Oh shit, it was a black baby. Oh, they only.
Yeah,
It's a
but then
gorilla
they-
and a kid. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like they jump in with the narrative before they even know any information. They just make shit up, and then get
Yeah.
really angry about stuff that exists solely in their heads.
Yeah.
Wish we had actual journalism again, bro. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that would be nice, but
But it's not just the journalists. It's your Twitter mobs and all the other.
I only come on Twitter to ask Modwing for the link.
No,
I tend
no,
to
I
spend a
know.
little
But
bit
what
more
I'm
time
saying
there now.
is that the outrage isn't necessarily press driven. It can happen on the Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Well, Twitter is outrage only, so I kind of gave up a long time ago.
I have to say something really interesting though, and I'm going to share it with you people. Wait a second. Screen 1, screen 2. Where is screen 1? Did I remove screen 1? Ah, there is screen 1. I'm going to share this with you. Why am I going to share this with you? Apparently, the people in the stream lost connection from roughly 11:50 till 12 a.m. Did you guys notice that you weren't online or weren't in the stream? I am curious about this one. It's interesting.
I wouldn't mind, but 11:50 is not for another 25 minutes.
For you, but
Jackass.
for me, it's history.
Yes, well, if you don't get your fucking time zone, it drives me nuts. People say, "Oh, it's on at 6 o'clock," and it's like, right, there are 24 time zones. Which fucking time zone? 6
Hey,
o'clock.
listen.
Obviously,
you know,
our time zone.
our time zone.
What's our time zone?
Exactly.
We are on
Central
British
European.
summertime, my dear. BST, no.
This is shit. Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't
There's
matter.
no European time zone.
Yes,
Yeah, there is.
it
There's
doesn't
a
matter. The
there's
point
a Central
is,
European time zone.
Yes, there's a
Yeah, but
Central
we're
European,
summertime now.
but there's also an Eastern European time zone. So there isn't a European time zone. There are several.
It's just, yeah, there are several, and some have with and some without
Jesus
summertime.
Christ, dude.
You can't work in IT, guys. Sorry.
Ludicrous,
Yes,
always,
yes, ludicrous.
mate.
He's always assuming things.
I am not. You're the assumer.
Anywho, so we've been talking a lot, but Rational Outlaw, are you still there,
No,
mate?
you've been talking a lot.
True that.
So
What is
it's
it?
like Alicia's time is called mounted time, and I said that sounds like
John.
something a timer would do.
We're no
It's
longer talking
not
about
time.
time. The time isn't going. Rational Outlaw, what is your view on things when we look at this whole narrative of the shooter are white supremacists, etc., etc.?
Well, as far as the whole him being right wing with the saying that he was NRA, all this, it just sounds very suspicious to me that he was. So I think that should definitely be looked into to see if people are just hacking his account and changing it to fit their narrative or spreading stuff to fit their narrative, which the left has a habit of doing. For example, as I think we all here knows, they edit Wikipedia articles to fit their narrative. I mean, that's a little easier than hacking an account or anything like that, but
Yeah, but this account,
It's
I
a
mean,
way-
it's not verified yet, so I mean they can put
so now
changes
you
on.
verified it to his account.
No, it's his account, and they can change things, but as long as he doesn't say yes, this is true, those changes apparently won't stick. Or at least it will say, no, this is what it said, but Patrick hasn't said this is the case.
I agree.
What I find
But yeah,
really...
I would be.
So go on, sorry.
Oh, you go.
What I find really interesting is this one, though. Let me see if I can share this. I should be able to share it. Come on.
Damn it, I have to switch tabs.
How Daytona's mass shooter was a self-described pro-Satan leftist who supported Elizabeth Warren by Snopes. And even Snopes had to admit that this was true. And Snopes is really good at trying to fail at seeing reality. They always try to say, oh, well, yeah, no, I mean, it's said that, but it wasn't. They couldn't find a way out. They couldn't find a way to say, well, yeah, no, he wasn't. He was a white supremacist. They couldn't find a way out. And this is true for Snopes, but obviously this is true for all the mass media, because all of the mainstream media was talking about, yeah, no, he was a leftist.
How reliable is Snopes anyway?
Not.
Not at all.
Not very reliable. if you wanted a left-wing source, NPR is better. It's probably one of the more reliable left-wing sources, but it's still pretty biased.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't mind bias. I mean, if you like to color.
When I mean bias, I
things,
mean they skew the truth. They leave out certain things.
Yeah, which is terrible in itself, but it's a lie by omission, which is better than what Snopes usually does, which is basically a lie. It's not just a lie by omission.
It's kind of terrible that we need fact checkers in this day and age, to be honest.
It's kind of terrible that even fact checkers are lying.
That too.
It's kind of funny that all fact checkers that I know of are liars. I don't know an honest one, to be honest.
If the media would be doing their job, we wouldn't need fact checkers,
Okay, I have to check Twitter. Why?
Entirely, you have to check everything yourself if you wanted to be absolutely sure on things.
And
you can't
that's true. And even checking the
right-wing source either.
Okay.
You have to check the checks because even the things you check against can be wrong. And it's very confusing.
That's what you have to look at the original sources. That's what it's all.
That's why I'm not a researcher.
That is true. That is true. But here's the problem: you have so much academia now that produces distorted data by intent.
A Ghost of Recon has just sent me a Twitter message. No, he sent me some time ago, but I was lazy. I didn't see it sooner. About how he may want to join in our little hangout. Ghost
Come on in,
Recon, do you have Discord? If you do, then you're welcome to join. So if you don't join my Discord server, you can hang out with us here, and I have to do another of those people inviting thingies.
As breaks are really doing my head.
Okay, I linked you the Discord server. If you want to join, you're welcome to join our Discord server, and then within the Discord server, it's getting old and all that. There is a chat channel where we're all talking, which is the basis of this hangout. So yeah, feel free to join. It's always good to have a local perspective.
Discord sucks.
And this, I really enjoy this one though. I mean, can you imagine people basically going from, okay, he's a Republican, and then they totally ignore the fact that it says here quite clearly, no, he's not.
Yeah.
It's amazing how stupid some people are, but then again, maybe I should be amazed.
It's not. Come on, how old are you, Modway? You should know by now. The vast majority are fucking dumb.
True that.
Either that, or completely ignorant and just don't give a crap.
Yeah,
I would count myself among them.
Oh, we're all dumb on lots of things. Let's be fair.
I see someone else joined us in the talking screeny.
That's Ghost.
Is that Ghost? Ars, are you Ghost? I can see that you want to talk, but I can't hear what you're saying.
You're unmuted, Ars. Unmuted.
I didn't mute him.
Got muted.
Gentlemen.
Oh, you're breaking up.
You're roboting.
Terrible connection.
He's gone.
That's too bad. Maybe he'll come back. This connection was terrible. I'm sorry. He's welcome to join back, obviously.
Well, you drop out some words, mate. So I think we probably all do.
Okay. How is the connection now? Can you try it again, Ars?
Roboting.
Check.
Yeah.
Say it again.
You're roboting badly.
I heard it perfectly fine when he said mic check. And then people started talking over him, and that caused rational outlaw to fucking robot as well.
No, I didn't.
I didn't hear him at all. I just heard him robot. So we need to find a better place than Discord, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Well, as I said, maybe we could still use Hangouts.
How do you
just do it through a browser and then OBS? I did tell you this.
Do it through a browser and then OBS.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
he's back.
you
Take 3.
plug OBS into plug the browser into OBS.
John, not now.
Oh, fuck.
Is that any better?
It's very little better, but welcome. Okay, try again.
Trying to figure out. Mic check.
Yeah, you're still roboting, mate. I don't know why.
The only one who hears him perfectly fine.
I'll be back in a few minutes. Are other people
Now I can hear you fine.
I don't know. This cell phone signal's kind of crap. How are you guys doing tonight?
Well, we're all right.
And that is a great thing. So basically, my perspective on this whole thing, for what it matters, is there's a jump in the media to blame anything that happens on white supremacy. And granted, white supremacy is horrible because I find it funny white supremacist guys are socialists, but only for white people, and I find that to be doubly stupid. But that being said, anytime something like this happens, there are a bunch of people that are just waiting in the wings to see how they can blame it on white folks and, the right of Mao. And I think this
Blame it on the NRA.
will be one of those cases.
You're breaking up badly again, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, probably is one of these cases.
Like the NRA, they used to love the NRA up until
And you're gone.
And he's gone.
I'm going to use my I'm going to connect to my other cell phone. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
You don't have a cell phone. That's push.
My work cell.
Yeah, cell phones are not a good way to do this stuff, especially if you're working on Wi-Fi. Anywho, that would be a stretch for an American film. There you have it.
Yeah, but you said you were playing tic-tac-toe, Davey. I didn't read the rest of it that said you were watching an American film, because why would you be watching an American film and playing tic-tac-toe? Just saying.
And watching a stream.
And watching. Well,
Well,
I can understand.
multitasking is fine, but
If
the point
this is the
we don't
stream-
call it tic-tac-toe, we call it noughts and crosses, because that's what it is. Bloody Americans. Sorry.
Right.
Don't take my anti-American rants at all seriously. I'm just like taking the bits.
Michael, if Water Fox crashed, I have someone in the stream who should be able to help you with that. Real Raven, go on, mate.
That's not my.
I don't care, Davey. You type it in the chat.
But it's funny, your English like is posh nods.
Is everyone breaking up today? What the hell?
Yes, everyone's breaking up today. It's Discord. Discord is shite.
Okay, so
And someone was
You
already
call it
put
love,
there.
right? Nod or love.
right. I really have to find out a different way. We really have.
Well,
to
in Yorkshire we say nout, but I think
Nout.
saying nout
Great note.
wouldn't quite
in the Netherlands,
have the
we
same
say.
understanding.
In the Netherlands, we say, "Who cares?"
No, you don't, mate.
Yep.
You're always quibbling.
Well, there is that, but I'm sorry that the stream is breaking up so badly. That's quite rational.
Expected.
No, it wasn't to be expected. But John and I did a stream together, and it works smooth.
That's because it was on my computer, set up properly and with better IT.
Says the boomer.
Hey, I told you, when it comes to IT, you're the boomer. I know what I'm doing.
Anyway, Rational Outlaw, because you are the only American on the stream at the moment. Is it fair
What
to
about me?
say... Sorry?
What were you saying? I'm the only what?
American on the stream at the moment. I mean, John
yeah.
is English, and I'm Dutch, Smirkus is Dutch, and Real Raven is German-Irish. So,
Yeah, I'm Dutch American. Thank you very much.
fair enough, but you live in the Netherlands. So, is it fair to
And
say
you have a
that...
funny accent.
is it fair to say that the whole narrative-driven politics and mainstream media are doing everything they can to keep a wedge in American society?
You're talking about like fear-mongering them on the whole gun issue?
Well, yeah, that too, but not just on lines of guns. Also,
No, it's mostly about race. It's mostly race baiting.
But yes, they're also race baiting a lot too. I can tell you that for sure because I just look at the mainstream media. Just look at what they've been doing in the past, I don't know, 5 years maybe or so. They've gotten a lot more race baity than they were even just 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it has gone downhill, and it has only gone downhill.
And according
to anti-racist.
And according to certain stats, ever since Obama got into the presidency, race tensions, according to people on both sides, has both Republicans and Democrats agree that race tensions have gotten worse since Obama's presidency.
Yeah,
like it started to climb and everything. Of course, there's also Black Lives Matter, which also did not help race tensions.
Well, it's all linked, I think.
All of this is it's all of it's linked. And as far as the whole the mass shootings go, anyone who's like afraid of the mass shootings, of being afraid of getting killed in the U.S., don't be. It's if you just look at the stats, it's
far and few in between.
Yeah, if you look at for example, of the deaths in the United States, murders only make up 0.6% of all deaths in the United States. Mm-hmm. And if you look at specifically mass shootings only make up 1% of all murders. So your likely chances of getting murdered in a mass shooting is
almost nil.
Very small.
I mean,
it's not just that. But the fact is that the stats are that the incidence is going down. The problem is that the reporting is going up. And what matters in politics is perception, not reality. And therefore, the perception that is happening more is actually what drives the narrative, not the reality but actually there's far fewer incidents.
And you also have to be careful looking at your sources because there's a lot of left-wing sources who lie about how many mass shootings there are. Like
absolutely.
Them say that
do they know truth?
A lot of them say that there was 300 mass shootings like every year, which is an absolute thing, which is blatantly false. There's only around 18 mass shootings, I think, in the United States. Anyway.
And the funny thing is, if the mass shooter isn't conceivably white, it doesn't get any media attention at all.
No, they stop talking about it.
Because if you also look at specifically by race, even in mass shootings, whites are underrepresented. Not by much, but they are technically underrepresented.
Yeah, a white guy commits a mass shooting, that's fucking headline news. A black guy kills a whole bunch of people in Detroit, it's a statistic.
It's just a gang of violence.
That was the third mass shooting that day. There were 3 mass shootings on that day, and one was in Detroit by a black guy, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
I think that's the real tragedy in all this. Is this stuff gets thrown around like a political football, and in it we're just dismissing, like we as a society are just dismissing all of the people that get killed on a regular basis in some of the places that have a lot of violence. It's just like in the 80s, if you wanted a story like the John Benet Ramsey case, like if you wanted a story that was going to keep people glued to their televisions, you find a pretty white blonde girl who gets murdered, and you have wall-to-wall coverage. And now it's someone who commits a mass shooting that you can plausibly claim was a white supremacist. You get wall-to-wall coverage.
Woman,
absolutely.
if a young white girl gets abducted, that's still fucking news.
Well, no. I mean, the Boko Haram incident is the epitome of this, because a bunch of girls get kidnapped. That makes international news. Thousands of boys have been murdered before that, and
Nobody
one
cares.
gave a shit.
No, why would they? Why would they care?
It's kind of interesting. I think that as far as violence is concerned, I think that white females are above the black ones in the totem pole.
Oh no, like a black girl gets fucking abducted, that's just I mean, that's not. Why would anyone give a shit about that?
Well,
Exactly.
the problem is
So weird, isn't it?
No. There's another problem with that one.
Unless it's done
Because
by a white. Unless it's done by a white person.
And there is the problem, because and this is the same.
you got
This is the same. A few years ago, there were these rape statistics which were actually true, and there were about 20,000 white girls raped by a black man, and there were a grand total of 0 black girls raped by white men, which then obviously became proof of racism. And I'm like,
Yeah, well,
It has to
White
be
Side got
something.
accused of that. White Side
Well, I
got
mean,
accused of that
if you look
because
at
he
the
didn't
UK,
attack any black women. It's, he's racist. He didn't predate on any black women.
Exactly.
well, if you look at the UK,
Maybe it is.
Here's the question I've always had in my head about the whole Rotherham scandal, right? Why the hell did nobody fucking say anything up until that point?
Are you
I
missing
gotta
the point?
imagine.
No, sorry. I am actually
did.
from that area. I'm
Yeah.
actually from that area. So here's the problem. It's not that no one said anything. There are channels. The police were actually under central government instructions to bury it.
you could actually be arrested for being clear about this.
Oh, I actually heard about that. Yeah, I don't know if is that true though.
It is true. Yes, it is true. There was central government
That was in the
oppression
report.
of
The doctor,
the problem.
sociologist who broke the story, or who did the study on it after the initial story was said it was broken, that actually found that there was pressure from the higher levels of government to not say anything about it, and to find other ways of charging ways to charge people that didn't incite the local neighborhoods.
So the BBC just quashed it then?
No,
Not just the
it was worse than
BBC.
that. It was the actual government.
Yep.
I'm just saying,
shared-
they wouldn't-
people must have
so,
been. I mean,
in other
Tommy
words-
Robinson was fucking yelling his ass off about that for like.
Yeah, which is why they defame him left, right, and centre, because being right is no defence, apparently.
and
Right.
not as in right being
you have
right
to be
wing,
right, but also politically correct, or just politically correct, as the case may be.
well, that's the problem. You have to be political correct.
No, by the way. The Labour MP for Rotherham was a woman called Sarah Champion.
Yeah.
She was the front bench spokesperson for something for the Labour Party. And she got fired from that for demanding action in protection of the children of her constituency,
Yep.
because it was anti-Muslim.
Yep. I remember that. She basically got backbenched.
Yeah, she got punished
Yep.
for speaking out
For speaking
in the
out.
interest of young female victims of rape. I mean, for goodness sake, isn't that supposed to be what feminism's about?
Well, but not when the considered victims are white and the considered perpetrators aren't white. And that's why you won't see a lot of stories. I linked. No, that's not true. I mirrored a video not too long ago on my YouTube channel about a British police officer speaking out on what they were told to do. It's not that the police didn't know about this. It's not that there were police officers that didn't want to deal with it. It's they got told not to deal with it.
No, the police get
Isn't
into
it on the
that.
police to then just say, fuck you, I'm gonna do something about this shit?
No, the police get
kind
into
of.
that. The police get into that line of work specifically so that they can enforce the law. The only reason that they don't do things in particular circumstances is because the higher ups tell them not to do it. We see this in Portland.
Yeah.
Constantly.
It is in all those states.
And this is the problem. This is the problem of Rotherham. This is what happened in Telford and all those other places. People knew this was happening, but they were forced to be silent. And this is why people like Tommy Robinson became such an issue, because he basically, once he started being attached to this story, he wasn't there from the beginning. A lot of people seem to be...
No. He broke the story a decade before
he broke it. But he broke it several years after it started happening. A lot of people already knew about it.
It happened 40 years ago. So the fact is, Tommy Robinson wasn't born when the problem was.
Indeed. And he broke it, but a lot of people already knew about it. This is what I'm trying to say. But they are now against him, not so much because he broke it, but because he didn't...
No, they are. They're against him because he's a teller.
No, he didn't bring out any new information, but he kept.
He did bring out new information because although people knew about it, it wasn't in the public domain till he spoke about it.
That's what I mean. He kept pushing it, even though others stopped pushing after being threatened or coerced into being silenced. He didn't fall for that tactic. But he wasn't
there was also a case in Sweden where there was some kind of train station, I believe, with a bunch of foreigners hanging out there, and people decided to do something about it, and all the whiteys got arrested.
That wasn't a train station. That was how do you call it? Shopping mall.
Shopping mall.
A shopping mall, and
you know what
a group of Swedish. And they claim they are Swedish nationalists, which could be true. I don't know. It happened a few years ago. Basically, they were like they handed out leaflets, basically saying, "Okay, you're here now, but we're going to clean this place up. If you're still here, we're going to kick you out of the shopping mall." And that's actually what happened. And the police arrested the white people that did this, even though because of that crime for a period of time in that station and in that shopping mall dropped massively. But they didn't deal much with the crime because they're not allowed to deal with the crime, because this is another problem.
That's weird to me, because you're law enforcement. You're supposed to enforce the laws.
Yes.
Do your goddamn job.
But that's the problem.
Unless
you're told not to. Unless you're told
but even then, it's your fucking job. Do something about it. You know?
I mean,
and that's one of the problems with
not every police officer is Dirty Harry. Sorry to tell you that.
No, I'm not saying
but that's one of the. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Go on.
I was going to say that's one of the problems with statistics-based policy is we have like in the West in general, we have a culture that says if there's a statistical difference, it's because it's not because of individuals' choices in breaking the law. There has to be some kind of bias or racism or sexism or whatever it happens to be, right?
Exactly.
And that's a problem, because then you get these then you have these politicians breathing down, police officials' necks, not police officers but officials, saying, "Hey, why are these numbers not coming out to what we expect them to?" And so you see things like young girls who are being sex trafficked, instead of being rescued, being charged with prostitution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do we fix the crime problem? You know what we should do is just like arrest less black people. Let's arrest less Pakistanis.
Well, it's just that whole stop and search thing, isn't it? Oh, you can't do stop and search because it profiles particular demographics. Well, that's because they commit most of the crimes. No, but that's racist.
John, you're being racist, man.
Yeah, but that's racist. But that's racist. And then what happens when you stop and search? Oh, you get an out-of-control crime problem.
Yeah, weird how that works, right?
Yeah, I know.
It is kind of...
I mean, just for your information, I was stopped and searched when I was about 19, 20 years old in Lewisham at about 1 a.m. by 3 SPG, that Special Patrol Group officers. And it was weird because it was like, I'm not small, but there were these 3 guys and they were huge. And there was one in front of me and one 6 foot either side, so that it was like you couldn't attack all 3 at once. And it's like, I'm just wandering down the street with my carrier bag. And they're
Blackface,
like,
John.
sorry?
You racist. Were you wearing blackface, you racist?
No, I was wearing a black leather jacket, and I still had hair then.
Yeah, exactly.
You should have just claimed like status, and then we're like, oh, well, we have to let you go.
No. It's like, so they're like, we need to look in your plastic bag, and I'm saying, okay, it's got my lecture notes in.
Yeah.
Still
I'm
gonna
a
check it.
student.
But when I
You're
was
a
young,
student. Yes, I know. I'm a student, and I was a real lefty at the time. I'm a student.
Those are assault notes. Thank you very much.
It was John's manifesto. Of,
In
Listen,
economics and computing,
Very
trust
good.
me, not.
in all fairness, we might joke around, but let's be honest, people have been arrested for posting the wrong thing on Facebook.
Now, I'm talking.
Yeah, they didn't have
37
Facebook.
years
assault
ago.
tweets.
They didn't have it
38
back.
years ago.
Yeah, it was wrong then, being left. Now the other way around.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out for those fully semi-automatic assault notes.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
real Raven, when are you guys gonna actually get like a proper like right-wing party in Germany? Just out of curiosity.
They've never had one. Even the Nazis were left wing.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, really.
Really? They were called
agree with the
National
Nazis
Socialist.
I don't agree that
even-
the Nazis were actually right or left because they didn't really have any coherent
It
ideology.
doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
they
no.
They don't. No. See, I've had this argument a million times now, and I don't think that's like socialists, communists, or fascists really should be in the left-right paradigm.
Oh,
Because
wow!
That's a liberal
You're my
paradigm.
friend. I love you because I keep saying this.
I'm sorry,
Right.
guys. I need to
They're-
go
they're-
AFK
they're
for a
separate.
sec. Guys, I need to go AFK for a sec. I need a
No.
fast fire break. I'll be back in a
Yeah,
moment.
piss off. Go on. Shut up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, but they're separate. They're separate ideologies. They're outside of the
They're
liberal
They're
sphere.
authoritarian. They're not particularly.
Well, it's not because they're. It's not because they're.
No, it
authoritarian.
is. It's very important to understand the difference between authoritarian and liberty, and different ways of doing economics or other things that typically get mapped on the left-right spectrum.
Well, I
Where
just
that,
in the U.S.
completely
we
agree with
got in the U.S. we got like a whole bunch of like fascists and fucking communists running around trying to fucking run the game now.
Yeah, but they're all the same.
doesn't it all stem from like Hegelianism or whatever? I heard that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Bloody
a lot of it
Hegel.
does stem from Hegelianism. Yeah,
Bloody
never trust
Hegel.
a German when it comes
Germans.
to philosophy. Or French
Yes,
people.
Germans.
Jesus, ragging on Germans again.
I
Yes,
just
of
want
course we're
my,
ragging
I
on
just,
Germans. It's a national
look.
hobby, Raven.
All right.
From
You're allowed
the
your
American
English.
perspective, I just want the rational like left wing people back. Like I don't know what happened to them, but they're gone now, and
There's
now we just
me.
have.
There's me.
The same
John.
thing that happened to the rational right people during the Obama administration when all the idiots were going on about birtherism and stuff like that. Except now they've got all of the
I forgot
mainstream
about
media reinforcing the stupid ideas. Like that's honestly what's happened. It's the same thing, only with a lot more media pressure.
Yeah. The point is that all rational leftists have been disenfranchised from the left.
Okay.
So they are basically home political.
Did you have a good pee, Modwayne?
Yep, that felt a lot better. Lost a bit
Good.
of weight though,
Oh,
but
halfway better.
I could do with a bit of weight.
Sorry, I just need to respond. Michael Keller, you might think that. You are wrong. The Germans will never stop. The Germans are waging war for the European Union. Might be different means, but it's the same objective. Just saying.
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
We've got what's irritating is that we've gotten to a point where Joe Biden is considered to be a bad lefty.
Yeah.
And to me,
And Sanders and Obama.
Obama, yeah.
Well, Sanders is fucking socialist out his asshole. So I mean,
Yeah, and still he's not left enough.
Well, he claims to be.
He's not left enough.
No one's left enough because the left doesn't exist in the state they believe.
Yep.
Left is not a squad, right?
I want to get back to a point in the United States where we can have blue dog Democrats and people don't raise their noses at it. Can we have that again, please?
And can you have Republicans and people don't raise it?
You mean? Well, sure. I mean, there's that.
Just major
Well,
problem.
this is one of the problems. I think like the two parties, like there's distinct dissimilarity between them because the left seems to take all of their cues from Twitter. They believe that Twitter is a good sampling, blah blah blah. So anything that's on Twitter, they have to have the quote unquote right opinion on. People on the right aren't nearly as much on Twitter because most of us don't give a crap, you know. So basically, you know, all these Twitter crazes that the left seems to bow to, like, just kind of pass the right by. And thankfully, because we'd all be insane. But you know, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, but then the left have driven the right off of Twitter, and then you wonder why it's a left-wing echo chamber, because they've driven the right off of Twitter.
Let's be honest. Not too long ago, people could actually lose their account for posting "learn to code," for fuck's sake. And you could lose your channel because of that. It doesn't make sense now, does it? But that's what the left is. It's identity politics to the extreme. And yes, then you get people like Bernie Sanders who aren't left-wing enough for them.
As a software developer, I thought the learn to code meme was pretty damn good advice.
Well,
It usually is.
it started as, what can you do? Because it started when the coal miners couldn't mine coal anymore because Obama didn't want them to, and then there was this upstart BuzzFeed or something.
My father was a laid off coal miner in Kentucky, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was kind of ridiculous for them to say that because going from coal mining to working with computers, those are vastly different. And learning computers is like learning another language.
Yeah,
I would laugh my butt off trying to teach my dad how to write code. He barely knows how to play Minesweeper, and it's not because he's a stupid man. It's just because he's worked with his hands for the past 50 years.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better for them to go in a different trade job then, if they've worked with their hands all their life?
Yes.
So the problem is that the economies there are gone. Like without the coal mining, there's no money coming into the economy for people to do those other things. Like there's if you're not Walmart and if you're not a Medicaid doctor, there's nothing for you to do there.
And if they don't have any money, they can't really move, and so they can't sell their homes because people won't want to move there because there's nothing there.
A whole bunch of economic
that's
problems.
Why Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, they're depopulating right now rather quickly. Like the average age of someone in the area is risen by like 15 years.
Well, that was one of the big reasons that Hillary Clinton got so much shit because like they asked her that question. It was like, so you want to go full green. Okay, so you're going to remove the coal, all of that shit from Virginia. Okay, so what are you going to do with all those people? And Hillary Clinton's response to that was, well, and that was it. And
I don't give a fuck.
Which is just about as much economic planning as these idiots are capable of.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, is just that the Democrats are supposed to be the central planners, right? They're the ones that are supposed to figure out how everything fucking works, right? They're gonna centrally manage all of our fucking economy, and they're gonna tell us exactly how we should be running our businesses.
But the funny thing
is, perfect reasons to not let them anywhere near power.
Yeah, no, and that's why. I mean, I voted Trump. I'm not gonna lie about it. I did.
Hey, don't lie about it.
I'm probably gonna fucking vote again for Trump
I
because
hope so, because the alternatives
Do
are
it.
dire.
Are there candidates at the moment? Is that known yet for the Democrats?
Oh, I would just vote for Trump again just to piss off the extreme left.
I'm looking. I've been following the Democrat primaries, and there is the only person there that I actually kind of like is Tulsi.
Yeah,
And-
everyone's the same, which means she's got no chance.
And Tulsi doesn't have
it's
a fucking
unfortunate because
dogs.
she's
she's got no chance.
yeah.
She's
She
sane.
seems like she's not crazy,
Yeah, she's
but
sane,
that doesn't
so
win
she
you the
has no
Democratic
chance.
primary, apparently.
Hey, but
These
people,
things don't
I'm going to call it quits because apparently the talk here is going great, but apparently it isn't being broadcasted really well. So I think we can So I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight, and we can hang out a little bit afterwards, no problem. But maybe we do the hangout on somewhat the same topic again next time, because people are dropping out because they simply can't watch because there's streaming problems, and I don't understand because if I look at what my
Because you're a boomer.
connection, no, my
That is
connection
probably
keeps
the difference,
It's just
between
Discord.
just Hangouts and
no.
OBS.
YouTube,
No, it's not
Discord.
OBS, it's Discord.
It's fucking
YouTube,
Discord. It's shit.
YouTube is telling me that connection is excellent, and people are talking about how they are buffering. Now that's not
Yeah,
Discord.
Discord.
Oh,
No.
okay, moderate. How's about Saturday? We try doing a hangout through a browser through OBS to see if that will work.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a shot.
Do it.
We'll give it a shot. But for today, I am going to say thank you all for coming. Sorry for the crappy connection and the rubbish start, but I love it that you all came. Don't forget to subscribe to Rational Outlaw. Click on his name and there's the channel. He makes very interesting stuff. I hope to see him here again.
And he's on Pornhub.
And he's on Pornhub. So what's your redeeming feature? Well, I'm
Oh boy.
Millennials.
It's a good thing, though. No sex. It's completely safe for work, I think. It's safe for work, right?
Safe for work video. It's
Hey,
just
Coach, do you have
politics.
a YouTube channel as well?
Rational Outlaw.
What?
has-
When you can watch on Pornhub, Smirkers, what's wrong with you? Sorry.
Well, you guys can also follow me on my YouTube channel, so it's not just Pornhub.
Indeed. Well, I'm going to ask people if they have any last words, but I'm going to end it abruptly because if I look at
That's okay.
if I look at how the view thingy is going, analytics, there's only half of the people now that were here earlier, and connection seems to be crap, even though it doesn't seem to show any problems on my side, but I believe it when people say that they keep buffering. So thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you all next time, and this is when I push the button to end the stream, and bye-bye.
Bye.